What if I told you a $5,000 drone can force a $2 billion warship to panic? That's not science fiction. That's the Red Sea. In the shadowy waters between Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, something is unfolding that defies logic. A fleet built on billions, armed with the most advanced radar systems, precision missiles, and cutting-edge defense technology, is being harassed, cornered, and tested, not by another global superpower, but by a militia. A group dismissed for years as mere rebels, the Houthis. From deep inside Yemen, they launch waves of drones and missiles. Not one or two, sometimes 10, sometimes 15. Crude, cheap, slow, but relentless. And what they lack in sophistication, they make up for in numbers and boldness. These drones don't need to be smart, they only need to fly forward and explode. And with every launch, the most powerful navy in the world has to respond. A single U.S. destroyer floating in contested waters suddenly detects multiple threats. The crew is trained, the systems are ready, but this isn't a drill. Radar flashes, alarm bells ring, and in seconds, the ship's defense grid is lighting up. CIWS cannons roar, spewing thousands of rounds per minute. C-rams lock on and fire. Missiles worth millions launched in response to drones that cost a few thousand at most. This is not a fair fight. It's an economically suicidal one, and the Houthis know it. They're fighting a war of attrition without ever needing to win a battle. They only need to keep attacking. Every drone intercepted is a tiny tactical loss, but a massive strategic victory. Why? Because it costs almost nothing to launch, but everything to stop. The Houthis have turned war into a budget game, and they're winning. And this isn't theory. It's already happened. In one of the most intense moments of this silent war, a U.S. destroyer intercepted a swarm of over a dozen drones and several missiles launched almost simultaneously from Yemen. The attack, described by Pentagon officials as complex and coordinated, was aimed directly at commercial shipping lanes and U.S. naval vessels operating nearby. Although all threats were neutralized, it took multiple interceptor missiles and continuous fire from onboard systems to prevent catastrophe. This wasn't just an isolated incident, it was a warning shot on a new kind of battlefield. And it's not just the U.S. Navy feeling the pressure. British destroyers are now stationed in the area. French warships are rerouting. Even Indian and Japanese naval forces are patrolling these once peaceful trade lanes. The Red Sea is transforming into a war zone. Behind every passing cargo ship, there's a warship and escort. Behind every calm horizon, a possible drone. From the sky, the U.S. sends its own message. F-18s take off from aircraft carriers, roaring into the air with payloads ready. MQ-9. Reaper drones patrol the region day and night. Surveillance planes like the P-8 Poseidon scan the waters from above. And when a strike is needed, it's fast and surgical. Tomahawks fired from submarines, precision bombs dropped on radar sites, and missile caches inside Yemen. The Pentagon wants to deliver a clear signal. We see you, we will hit you, and we will not allow this threat to grow unchecked. But despite the precision, the intelligence, and the force, the attacks haven't stopped. In fact, they're escalating. The Houthis have nothing to lose, and every attack, successful or not, puts pressure on global trade, political alliances, and military prestige. The Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, once a forgotten choke point, is now a flashpoint in a proxy war that most people still don't fully understand. And perhaps that's the most dangerous part of all. This isn't just a local rebellion, it's a testing ground. Iran is watching, Hezbollah is watching. Militias across the region are learning. You don't need nuclear weapons or stealth fighters to challenge a superpower. You just need enough cheap weapons and the will to keep firing them. Imagine what happens if one day they don't send 15 drones. Imagine 50th or 100th. Imagine a swarm coming not just from Yemen, but from multiple points across the region. Ships can only shoot so fast. Interceptors only carry so many missiles. What happens when the saturation becomes too much? When one drone makes it through? When a warship is hit? Or worse, sunk? As the conflict drags on, the economic toll is becoming undeniable. The United States alone has already spent over $5 billion on its military presence in the region since 2015, with much of that going into the deployment of aircraft carriers, destroyers, and submarines, all of which cost millions to maintain annually. For example, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, an aircraft carrier, has an estimated operating cost of $25 million per day while deployed. Additionally, the U.S. Navy has increased its use of Aegis missile defense systems, which cost $1 billion per year to operate and maintain. On top of this, U.S. forces continue to launch precision strikes using Tomahawk missiles, which cost about $1.5 million per missile. This is no longer about Yemen. This is about the rules of modern warfare being rewritten in real time. The Houthis, a force underestimated and overlooked, are now shaping the future of asymmetric combat. And the U.S. Navy, for all its might, has no easy answers. The age of cheap war is here, and the world's most expensive militaries might not be ready for it. This is not just a battle between nations. It's a battle between innovation and tradition, between brute force and creative thinking. The world is changing, and the rules of warfare are being rewritten in real time. We may be witnessing the dawn of a new kind of conflict, one where technology, resourcefulness, and the will to fight can outmatch even the most powerful military machines. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay vigilant. The future of warfare is unfolding, and it's more unpredictable than ever.